welcome to Mr. Johnson's Time Machine. I'm your host, Rory McBain, and I'm joined by the inventor of Mr. Johnson's Time Machine, Mr. J. John Johnson.
Yes, well, thank you, Rory. Thank you for having me again. I can't believe we're doing this again.
Let's do it every episode. You can't believe it. If you don't know, this is not an actual time machine, but of course we're calling the show that because you agreed to it, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, well, I agreed to a lot of things, apparently.
Absolutely.
Read your contracts. That's my suggestion to people out there.
Now, I have to say, I couldn't be more excited for our show today, as we're already pushing the boundaries of this technology and expanding the possibilities of what we're able to bring
you. We're not pushing the boundaries of this technology, brother. The technology can do anything we ask it to do.
Okay, well, as far as the listeners go, I always have to remind you, we're saying this for the listeners. Pushing the boundaries of human technology is a story as old as time, or at least as old as human history. And the one constant throughout humanity has been the unceasing march of technological progress, from fire to the wheel to, yes, space travel. Perhaps no event in human history embodies the idea of technological human progress more than the Apollo 11 moon landing. July 20th, 1969, unlike many historic moments, everybody knew how important this was as it was happening.
I would say it's probably number 4 on the list, right behind the microwave oven.
Yeah,
I don't want to interrupt.
Okay, we'll stop the list at 3, I guess. But when Neil Armstrong took his first steps on the moon, 94% of all televisions in America were tuned in to watch. What else would you be watching? I can't understand what other people would be
Probably
watching.
soccer. Housewives, bored,
Sure.
horny,
Maybe.
watching soccer.
Okay, this is 1969, but
Yeah.
okay. Since the moon landing, there's been no shortage of documentaries, books, movies, and all types of assorted media breaking down every single moment of that mission. So you may be asking, why are we dedicating an episode to one of the most heavily recorded moments in history? But first, a word from our sponsor.
Honey, why don't we invite some friends over for a backyard cookout this weekend?
I don't think so. Have you seen the squirrels in our yard? They're so dingy.
Are the squirrels in your yard drab and sheenless? Is their unappealing appearance ruining your very existence? You don't need to torch your home and move. Instead, use Mr. Johnson Squirrel Polish. Yes, Mr. Johnson Squirrel Polish will give new life shine to the drabbest of squirrels. Gone are the days of trying to apply goopy, hard polish to fidgety squirrels. Mr. Johnson Squirrel Polish comes in a convenient pump spray and uses only the finest exotic oils and hydrous lanolin. Use Mr. Johnson Squirrel Polish and make your squirrels shine.
Wow, honey, these squirrels in our yard look fantastic.
You're goddamn right, dear. You're goddamn right.
You can find Mr. Johnson Squirrel Polish and all the Mr. Johnson products at your local U.S. Post Office.
Mr. Johnson's family products.
So you may be asking, why are we dedicating an episode to one of the most heavily recorded moments in history? Well, there are still unanswered questions about the Apollo 11 mission, namely what was said by the astronauts in the capsule during the 11 minutes that the capsule was out of signal range while flying around the moon before the landing.
I'm going to put a guess in right now.
Okay.
It was bathroom stuff. They were talking about bathroom stuff.
That's your prediction.
That's my prediction. It's going to be like, who's going? I need to go. We'll do. You went first last time type of thing. You get a break, that's what you do. You go to the bathroom and you got a break.
If there was a bathroom, they might have done that. But I also want to mention there was another gap in the signal as the lunar module redocked with the capsule before returning to Earth. I think it is testing the technology because to this point, everything we've gotten has been sound waves created on the planet Earth. Now we're going outside of that into orbit right around the moon. You don't seem as impressed as I am about what's about to happen.
Do you have 11 minutes or whatever it is and you don't normally have it? That's the time that you do the things that you can't do when everyone's listening. And that's going to be...
And you think it's bathroom talk?
I think it's going to be bathroom stuff.
Well, there was no washroom. They're in a capsule. I believe they soiled themselves, and there was some kind of system for that. We don't need to get into that.
The smartest men on this planet.
Honestly, I don't think they would ever send the smartest people on Earth out into space. I think the smartest people are probably on Earth, and they send smart people. Let's just go to it. We've got the coordinates in there.
Yeah, I've got
as we
it here
say.
on
Again, I entered it. Just use the time that I gave you from the NASA logs that we have.
Yep, I got it.
Okay.
I know how to read NASA logs.
Houston, this is Apollo 11. Checking in. Houston? All right, I think we're safely out of range. We're going to be passing around the dark side of the moon right now. We'll be impeding our radio frequency, so we'll be radio silent for the next 11 minutes.
Oh, man. 11 minutes with you guys. Yikes.
We've been training together for like 6 months.
Yeah, well, guess what? I'm letting loose.
Now?
Yeah.
We're about to land on the moon. You're going to let loose now?
Well, I got 11 minutes. I might be about to die. You think I'm not going to tell you bozos how I feel about you? And all your peacocking about the campus?
Holy cow.
That Michael Collins, I got to say, I admire him.
Wow. I told myself I wasn't going to say wow, but this is a wow. It's a wow podcast. I have to say your technology has provided countless wows.
At this moment, I have to admit, I think it's gone beyond what even I thought it could do. Sound that was created on the backside of the moon.
Okay, I think you're getting a little bit too in the weeds.
You're just mad at me because I won't take your marijuana anymore.
I told you not to take 2 of those. Let's get back to the moon. No bathroom talk, first off, but a little bit of tension. We don't normally stop something this early in, but there's been reports that this crew was not. Is camaraderie a word?
No, I don't think so.
They were co-workers.
Precisely.
Like us.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I never really had much respect for Michael Collins until now. I hear him standing up for himself.
Why did you have no respect for? He's an astronaut. He made the first trip.
Come on, he's not an astronaut. He's an engineer.
He's literally an astronaut. If you take the term astronaut, he went out
I understand
space.
that. It's not as rare as you might think.
Only 12 men have been on the moon.
Let's leave all this alone.
You know what? Why don't we just get back to this and the amazing tension apparently in this capsule.
I have to go down to the moon and be the first person on the moon in about 11 minutes. So I don't want...
Oh, you poor thing. You have to be the first. You're going to be able to screw the whole city of America.
The whole city of America? You know, this is why you're not going on the moon. This is why you're not the first one. Because you just said the city of America.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I'm not, no offense, Collins, but you're not the brightest bulb in the capsule.
I'm not, but you know what? I work hard, I understand things, and I'm not going to take shit from no pretty boy who thinks he's going to go glimpsing around the schmoon and, oh, poor me. Just be cool, okay? We got 8.5 minutes.
I've trained for the 6 months and not to have emotions.
Yeah, that training probably took 30 seconds because you've been the most emotionally unavailable partner, work friend, anything. I can't even trust you to grab me a damn adult tissue.
It's called a Kleenex.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, we use brands. It's America. This isn't communist Russia where everything is a tissue. We have brands, we have companies that rise to the top, that sell the best products, and they earn the right to call products by their name. Now, I went off on a tangent. I'm mad, and I shouldn't be, goddammit. I should be calm. I gotta, rein it in.
Yeah.
I think my comms have been off. I'm sorry. I had my hand on the button the whole time. I didn't realize it, and I was looking this way. It's beautiful out here. You guys okay? You both are sweating.
Yeah. I just had a bit of an argument. Collins decided to unload right before I go take the first step on the moon.
Now?
Yeah.
Look how beautiful it is.
I lost it.
Nobody's had this view before, Michael.
I know.
Michael.
I misstepped.
Lot to unpack.
Holy moly, Michael Collins is swinging.
It seems like you aren't the only one who underestimated him or who had a poor opinion of him. It seems like...
Well, I certainly know how he feels.
So are you comparing your experience to the first man to fly to the moon?
Yeah, the guy who sat in the capsule and ran the controls and got no glory.
Well,
yeah,
I'll tell you that this room is bigger than the capsule that they were in, and we have a bathroom here, unlike them. Well, let's get back to
thank you for listing all the amenities of this.
Let's get back to the amazing footage that
very
we've
well.
had, okay?
Very well. Yes. When you hear Buzz Aldrin, it's like the cavalry coming over the hill, isn't it?
I suppose so. I would guess, judging from what we know of the men, their biographies, their histories. Buzz has always been kind of the more social of all three, kind of perhaps the glue guy in there. And obviously, he's looking out the window. The few seconds he seems to be out of it, they go right at each other. There seemed to be quite a bit of tension there.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to this. Yeah.
I know,
Michael.
I misstepped. This is a lot of pressure.
No, you know what? He can't appreciate the view. He's too mad because I've been emotionally unavailable to him. Like I'm supposed to be his wife, guys.
He wags his big diploma around like it's his dongy dong. Slapping my mouth.
You know how much college cost? For me, I come from nothing. My parents were raised in the Appalachian Hills. There was no plot of land. I had to fight off bears.
Are you still fighting? I'm so sorry. It's weird that they put the button right here on the console because when you're leaning out the window, your hand hits it. And so Neil, are you crying?
Yes, I am crying.
Neil.
I thought people liked me.
I really like you. We all know that Michael is not going to be walking way on the May.
I have some questions.
Yeah,
a few.
boy, I'll say.
It's very clear that Buzz Aldrin, he turns away again, and they're back at each other.
That's what's so fascinating is that it seemed like the fire was out. Then he must have turned back away.
Turned back, or whatever he was looking at.
Sounds like
was,
he leaned on the comm button.
Fool me once, Buzz. You got to watch out. I imagine the tension in there was tremendous, and they know the world is listening.
Well, and as you heard Neil Armstrong speak about it early there, they've been together for 6 months at this point.
And for most of this trip, they've been sitting like 3 people in a row on a bus or at a movie theater. Imagine the tension that's exploding in the capsule.
Yeah. Let's go back to the moon. Well, just
around
off
the dark side of the moon, outside the moon, orbiting the moon. They're at 3 days they've been in this capsule together.
Yeah.
Sitting side by side, the tension building, knowing they couldn't say anything until this moment. This has been building
Well,
up
this
for
is what
days.
I meant by bathroom stuff.
No.
So I was right. This is bathroom stuff. They're
absolutely
all
not
shedding their emotions, is what I meant when I said it.
That's a stretch to justify.
You know what? We're
bathroom
going
stuff.
back to the capsule.
Please.
We are 6 minutes from capsule separation. Buzz, let's go through the checklist.
Yep.
All right. Principles 1 and 2.
I'm sorry, Michael. I said Buzz. Let's
Yeah,
go through the
of course.
checklist.
Shocker.
Yeah,
You're
Michael.
usually so concerned with these type of things. Anyway, let's see. Okay, you boys have your oxygen levels on peak E.
Michael, you sure you want to do this yourself? I'm happy to go through the checklist. You don't have to do it.
Yeah, I really would prefer Buzz. went through the
I'd really
checklist,
prefer
Michael.
the two of you just shut the fuck up.
We'll certainly be quiet when we're walking on the moon and you're not.
Yes,
Okay.
we'll be very quiet.
You
We'll be
guys
so
are great.
quiet.
So
It'll-
pleased with yourselves. You ever notice that? You just walk around like a couple of rooster boys, making the world
Let
their
me tell
little...
you a story, Michael. When I was a kid, I used to go to the fair every summer, Montgomery County Fair.
Congrats.
And when I'd go there, I'd get on this ride. It was called the Tilt-A-Scream. And every time I'd get on that Tilt-A-Scream, I'd experience the ride. And one day when I was walking off of that ride, I looked at the guy who was in charge of running it, and I said, "You must have the best job in the world because you run the Tilt-A-Scream." And he said, "I run it. I've never been on it." You are that guy, Michael.
Buzz, I think we're being a little harsh.
I actually feel kind of
think-
seen
no,
by that. and
I've had it.
thank
I've
you.
had it with
Listen,
Michael.
he's been a bit of an ass. I know there's some passive aggressiveness that's been happening for the past few weeks during training. Don't think we haven't noticed
Yeah,
it.
that's rich that you say that.
It's
Don't
true.
think I haven't
It's
noticed
true.
it.
We go on there every time we ride that G-force machine that spins us around in a circle. You're rolling your eyes.
Yeah, I'm rolling
and not
my eyes.
because the pressure's pushing him to the back of your skull. You're rolling your eyes because you know that you're not. Why do I need to be here? I'm just the guy who's going to fly the plane around the moon.
Neil, you're being a little hard.
You are being a little hard.
Sorry, I lost
If I
it
had
there.
one
The
wish,
truth-
it would be that you could leave your body so you could hang with yourself for a few minutes just to see what a piece of shit
You know what,
are.
Michael? You know what? Maybe Neil has a point. Maybe Neil has a point with you always coming down on us so hard. You know, if you maybe just once thought about being a team,
Okay.
we could have.
Yeah,
I
we
had a
could've.
moment where I could have.
Yeah, we
told them
could've.
I want 3 people on the moon, but that day you farted.
To hang
Well,
that over my head.
that was the one day we had to be in the capsule for 72 hours. 72 hours. We all took the medicine.
We share one giant breathing apparatus.
You guys forced me to get Greek food when I told you it doesn't agree with my stomach.
We
I
didn't
don't
force
like
you to eat that much
And you
fat.
sit there with your diplomas and your attitudes and your jawlines and your little haircuts and your Superboy attitudes, and I'm sick of it, okay?
We have to have Superboy attitudes. We're doing something super.
And we have to have little haircuts because if we have big ones, these helmets don't fit right.
That's right.
Okay, we're firing the capsule.
You want anything while we're out?
Yeah, I think I would. I'd like just a little something.
How about a hot dog and a beer? I'm sure they sell it on the frickin' moon.
Yeah, you know what? Why don't you look around, see if they have an apology there, okay? If anything is owed to me, it's that.
Remarkable.
So many questions answered.
There's
First
your bathroom talk.
Yeah, I mean, well, to be fair, that was the bathroom talk I was talking about. I have to be honest. I think I did a brilliant job covering, but this was the bathroom talk I was talking about.
Did you listen to this ahead of time?
No.
You're not allowed to listen to anything ahead of this.
I'm not going to lie.
Regardless, these men, they're taking advantage right up to the last second
Yeah.
to really give it to one another.
Well, and not only that, it seems kind of foolish. They're railing on their fellow crewman who is going to have their lives in his hands.
Literally.
So it speaks volumes about the man, Michael Collins.
It's clear that perhaps he wanted to be on the moon, but
Who wouldn't? Collins said at the beginning of this thing, you're going to be able to screw the whole city of America. So
right, which is also gave a bit of a hint into perhaps why the other astronauts were a little bit condescending towards Mr. Collins.
I thought, oh, it's so beautifully put.
Oh, as if it was like the poetry, the city of America. in
Sure, I
some
mean,
way.
obviously that's what he meant. But Collins gets the uppercut at the end there, doesn't he? When he says, see yourself and see what a piece of shit you are.
Interesting that we talk of poetry and Michael Collins, and that insult, float outside your body, as these men are in outer space, floating outside.
Very David Bowie.
Yes,
I see.
I think so. But when we come back now, when the capsule was docking so that Armstrong and Aldrin could get back in, we are also missing several minutes of the transmission from that time. So if you could, Mr. Johnson, please.
I'm on it.
This is nearly a day later as the men are coming back. Michael Collins has been circling the moon. He is reported to have taken a nap for some of that time, so perhaps he's going to be a little less crabby. And of course, these men have set up Tranquility Base. So I wonder how this spiritual moment in their lives will affect them. Are they changed forever?
Guaranteed bathroom talk on this one.
And we are redocking
Flipping blue switch.
into the capsule
Confirming hydrogen point 6.
and docked.
Lifting visors.
What the fuck was that, Neil?
What? What was what?
The fuck was that? You pushed me. You know that the order was me, then you, and you. As I was stepping out, you yanked on my air tube. You did a swim move.
Check.
You have to tell everybody that I was me that was out there first.
Red lights are green.
I mean, I was on the radio saying the Eagle has landed. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
You backstabbed
There was
me, Neil.
film.
We're going to go ahead and take a dust reading.
I didn't want to say this, but no one at NASA wants you to be the first guy on the moon.
Oh, wow.
This
Eat it
guy.
up, Michael.
Yeah, no. With gravy.
Because they knew there was no reasoning with you. Your ego is the size
Readouts turn glare.
of the moon.
Project much, right? Mm-hmm.
I hardly think that's true. I just
Really?
happen to be super handsome and have a huge penis.
Well, it's
Yeah.
too bad you couldn't show us the size of your brain.
Hey,
because I'm
hey.
sure it's not as impressive as your penis.
Wow.
Grip. Friction.
That's what the first man on the moon is measured by. His intelligence, not his wanker.
Legs out.
And there it is. I mean, that's that locker room talk that I was talking about.
You keep changing. You said bathroom, and now it's locker room and everything.
Well, where is the bathroom?
You got it when he said the thing from before. I just want to point out the professionalism of Michael Collins, because the NASA logs, what we have, are with those beeps and where he's going through the systems and whatever his checklist is.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, he's managing this.
He's
this
kind of
melee
refereeing
a
now.
little
He has
bit.
switched roles now. He's no longer the oppressed. He is now.
It's interesting
He's the lawman.
that he has the status after these two men have just been on the moon. They don't seem to be changed to me.
No,
if
they don't
anything,
seem
the
changed at all.
same
I'm telling you,
human
it's-
problems exist.
They probably have to go to the bathroom.
You're
They've
really
been on the moon.
fixated
They've been
on
on
this.
the moon for 24 hours.
You know,
what did they do while they were down there?
You can Google what do astronauts do. I'm fairly certain
Google.
their suits.
Sure. Let me give Google my social security number.
That's not what happens when you search for
Let's keep
something. They don't
going.
ask for your social security number. You
Let's
can look
not
it
get
up.
political,
Let-
okay?
I didn't think we were. Again, this is amazing footage that we're
Yes.
listening to of these men still tense. So there is an existential sword hanging over their heads, if you will, throughout all this, and yet still the pettiness of humanity. I wanted to be first. I wanted to be first. There's a lot of human
I want to call you
conditions.
doctor.
They don't line up. Those are different things.
Well, you insisted on calling me doctor
No,
for
it
an
was a
entire
mistake.
episode.
I can't believe you're still coming back to this.
Well, because
If
it's-
anything, it's a compliment that I would
Well.
think such a thing. I no longer think such a thing if that you've forget it. Just
your spaghetti logic has gotten me once again.
can we just please continue? Let's go back to the recording.
Okay.
I'm Mr. First
You were
Man
on
the
board
moon.
with this. You were aware of it. We talked about keeping Michael off, and you said when you were like, because I was like, if we bring Michael on, he can be third, which would make second better. And you said, I don't need to be in it. The order doesn't matter.
That's right, I did say that, because I was told to say that by my superiors. I follow orders. I am Neil Armstrong. I don't have my own mind.
Copy.
Do you hear yourself?
I do, and I don't. Yes, I do hear myself, and it is a relief to have someone else, someone higher above you, tell you what to do, and you know what? You just do it. You don't think.
Roger.
But you couldn't do that, Buzz.
No, I can't because I think outside the box. You and Michael are two peas in a pod. Two dipshits.
Oh, wait, whoa. You baboons get the opportunity to go walk on the moon.
Oh, Michael, for God's sake, you can't even pronounce opportunity properly.
Well, guess what? I don't even know what math is. Neither of those things have to do with anything. Adjusting safety straps. You go, you train your birds, you get all the pictures with the celebrities, and you do stuff, okay? And you don't appreciate a thing. You're not humble, you came from nothing, but you come here.
I agree.
And you cock-a-doodle all around, and now you're dragging Buzz into your bullshit.
Yes.
Buzz has a beautiful penis that helped me and Sharon through a very difficult time, and I think it's rude of you.
You slept with Sharon, didn't you?
Roger that, Control.
I knew it. You let Buzz sleep with your wife?
Yes, she was very pleased. And we're clear for final descent.
I'm disgusted by both of you.
We are adding the marbles. Check. Mission Control. We are radical.
Holy shit. Are you kidding? Listen, that last little bit, the adultery, or it's not adultery, it's just a menage.
I don't even know that it was a menage. It sounded like sex therapy to me. To be honest, I did not know that it was a thing back then, but it definitely is these days.
Yeah, as I've said before, sex, no matter the time period, is going to get nice.
Okay. There were revelation upon revelation in that end thing there.
They
And
were fired up because Michael Collins is the only one doing a job.
To be fair, he also mentioned that he had no understanding of math, which is a pretty amazing revelation. Upon hearing that, even though some of the other stuff might catch your attention, that's got my attention.
If I suddenly find out that the man that's in charge of being the engineer and pilot of my vessel doesn't know math,
Doesn't know what math
I'm
is,
going to
you
have
said,
to
or
knock
something?
him out. You don't want him touching your knobs
But
and stuff.
he's already gotten them that far. He
That's
said in
true.
the beginning he was a hard worker, and I think that's been pretty evident.
He wasn't going to put up with shit from pretty boys. That's what he said.
He doesn't like pretty boys.
Yeah.
I know you don't like pretty boys.
I don't
either.
like pretty boys either.
You both don't like them. Buzz Aldrin, it was widely known that he did enjoy a healthy, perhaps bigger than average member. Like Milton Berle, another one, Buzz Aldrin.
Uncle Milty's got a biggin.
Oh, that was widely reported. I
I
think
never-
those guys
I never
are.
knew.
I maybe read an article, but
I hope
regardless.
so. I hope it wasn't photographs.
How would I have photographs? We're getting off topic here. And the topic is that
Are
these
we?
men, if you consider the rest of the footage that's been recorded, the rest of their trip back, days back to Earth, days out to the moon, none of this.
No.
None of
Well,
this was
you
palpable.
keep it bottled up.
I think at this point, though, there was so much in there that we could be breaking it down for a full another 3 episodes. But, of course, this is a podcast and there are rules. And so we probably should be wrapping up pretty soon here. Do you
Yeah,
have
I
any
think
final
we've-
thoughts on what we've seen here today?
It's all about the stuff and the stuffing, like I said last time.
Yeah, I
Mr.
remember
Johnson
you
original.
said that.
It's just human nature, folks.
I will say that there are some things that do not change, whether you're earthbound in ancient times or amongst the stars in the 20th century. People are people.
So why should it be that you and I get along so awfully?
I think that's a good place to go out. Of course, we have to thank our sponsor, Mr. Johnson, and the full line of Mr. Johnson's products, including Mr. Johnson's Baby Taser, Mr. Johnson's Beaver Poison, and Mr. Johnson's Squirrel Polish, as well as many other Mr. Johnson products that you can find at your local post office.
Thank you, Postmaster DeJoy.
And please join us next week for another episode of Mr. Johnson's Time Machine.
Mr. Johnson would like to extend a special thank you to all our participating consultants, Daniel Antonucci, Matthew Craig, Robert Janis, Rich and Rebecca Sohn, and Eddie Furman.
Mr. Johnson's family product.